Hey, yo, everybody, how you doing? I don't even know if I did it right. But hey, special
Good.
guest tonight. We got Philly.500 bringing him
Yo,
up.
everybody.
Hey, yo, everybody, he's here. He's here. He's on the
What's
Better
up?
Birds, baby.
Here we go. I'm ready to take down Howie Roseman. Brandon Grant's time.
That's what we're going to do today. We got a lot on the docket today. We're going to talk Howie. We're going to talk Doug Pederson, talk Carson Wentz. We'll get into Brandon Graham a little bit, get into the Eagles draft. We'll get into everything. So, I'll just say this from the jump. I try to be as real as possible on here. I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't do any of that stuff. And Philly.500 is the one guy on YouTube that reminds me of myself. And that's why he's on the show right now.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Hell yeah. So we're going to talk about Howie Roseman right now.
All right.
And I know this is a subject that's going to fire you up. So I'll just ask you very simply, why do you hate Howie Roseman so much?
I hate Howie Roseman because to me he's like Darth Vader, but without the black mask and uniform. He's like this little weasel, right? And he infiltrated the Eagles back in the Andy Reid, Joe Banner days, right? He used Banner and Reid and made them fight, and he gained control of the team, started drafting bad players and blaming it on everybody else. Nobody blames him for something or nothing. And then you have Andy Reid gets fired. He somehow keeps his job. Chip Kelly comes in. He tells Chip Kelly how to run things. Even though I didn't like Chip Kelly still knew what he wanted to do. And Howie Roseman then got rid of him, went into his little dungeon, and then now he's back again. And he hires a coach that is basically, a yes man. He made sure the only reason Doug Pederson was hired was so he couldn't go and try to go over Howie Roseman's head. So these are all the reasons to start and why I can't stand the guy. And the sooner he goes, the better.
Yeah, we talked about it before the show. It's almost like people forgot what he did prior to Chip Kelly coming to Philadelphia. Chip Kelly left such an indelible mark of just disdain on this city.
Yeah.
We forgot what Howie did. We forgot how bad his drafts were. We forgot.
And how he hired Chip. And he hired him. I mean, he's the one that brought the guy in. You know what I mean? He hired him, and then he blames Chip. It's your fault, not everybody else's. I'm sorry, I can't stand the guy. Like I said to you earlier, he's made 3 good moves, right? 3. He did the Wentz stuff. I gave him credit for. Trading Bradford, I gave him credit for, and then signing Malcolm Jenkins a few years ago. That's it. Besides that, everything else stinks. Yep. As far as I'm concerned, And also, let me say this. He also does not give up on his players that he drafts. Even though they stink and you shouldn't sign Vinny Curry to big contracts and Kendricks to big contracts and Kelsey, he gives them money anyways. And then he tells everybody they're good, that they're good. They're not. It's just how I see it.
He hands out a lot of bad contracts.
A lot of them. Yeah.
A lot of them. Last year, when they're handing out all these extensions, and everybody was praising these moves, I'm sitting there, I'm like, why are they giving all this money to Vinny Curry? Why are they giving all this money to Zach Ertz? Why are they giving all this money to Lane Johnson? Why are they doing this? They were giving up a shitload of money. God damn it, I cursed. I didn't want to.
Oh, it's okay.
I knew I'd do it.
Okay.
But they gave up so much money for these players that, and it's like, this Vinny Curry contract is worse than the Byron Maxwell one.
Yeah, it's horrible. It didn't make any sense because they always say they don't use a guy right because of the system Chip came in. So he gave him money, assuming that moving him, I guess, to 4-3, he was going to have a great year. But I don't see how he could give that guy that kind of money. There's no way. And Kelsey, too. I didn't understand that. I thought Kelsey had one good year. And that was about it. And then with Doug Pederson's offense coming in, I didn't think that he would be a good fit at center. And I still don't think he has been. So, he ties his own hands, really.
Yeah.
A lot of ways.
Yeah, and another thing that people don't know, actually, when Chip Kelly was here making all those moves, telling, like who he was bringing in here to Philadelphia, Howie was the one doing the contracts. It wasn't Chip. It was Howie. Howie's fire Maxwell all that money, not Chip.
Yeah, exactly. No, maybe he gave him wrong bad contracts on purpose. I wouldn't put it past Howie Roseman, because I think there's a lot of that goes on. And you notice how many years like people were like, who drafted Brandon Graham? They couldn't remember it was Howie Roseman. I remember listening to Howard Eskin on WIP, I believe, and he was saying that Roseman and Reed were fighting over to draft Brandon Graham or Earl Thomas. But they wind up going with Brandon Graham, and then when it looked like he had a bad year, Howie wouldn't admit that he took him. And it took him like 3 years to admit he drafted Marcus Smith. Yeah. And then stinking Danny Watkins was the stupidest pick I've ever seen, with a 27-year-old fireman. I didn't even know who Danny Watkins was when they drafted him, you know? But people forget it. It's like, oh, Howie can't do no wrong. What? The sooner the better. The sooner the better. That's all I have to say. Howie Roseman.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. He made like the trade up for Wentz. I'm not gonna lie, that was genius. That was right? that was pretty savvy. All right, to not only unload the contracts of Byron, you got rid of Kiko, even though Kiko had a pretty good year last year in Miami.
Yeah,
rid of contracts. You move up twice. You basically did what you tried to do while Chip Kelly was here. They kept doing this with Tennessee, with Marcus Mariota. It just didn't work out. But in this draft, Wentz wasn't highly thought of as a prospect, and they were able to manufacture this trade, and it was a really good trade. And you know, you talked about the Bradford thing. I don't give them as much credit. I don't give Howie credit for that.
No,
because if Teddy Bridgewater didn't tear his ACL, it would have never happened.
That's true. Unless Howie hired Tanya Harding or something.
He may have. It wouldn't have surprised
Not me.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, so I don't really give him like the Bradford thing is okay. He kind of lucked into that. Carson Wentz, dude, I give you all the credit in the world for that. That was awesome. All right, you're just lucky that we didn't get Jared Goff. If we had Jared Goff on this football team right now, we'd be the laughing stock of the league.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although, you know, you're right, because they wanted to keep Bradford. I mean, it sounded like they were willing to keep him as starter for 2 years, which to me was a complete waste of that rookie contract that you get, you know, as a quarterback, which is friendly to the cap. So that would have been bad too. I couldn't stand Bradford. I couldn't stand Bradford.
Yeah, you know. Bradford, I liked the move in the beginning, and then it didn't take me. Yeah, it took me like half the season to realize, okay, this guy stinks. Like,
yeah.
What about this guy?
Yeah.
So all right. So we talked Howie. Let's go on to Doug Pederson now.
Doug Pederson.
The proclamation that I have always made, that I've always said, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win a Super Bowl under Carson Wentz, but it will not be with Doug Pederson as head coach.
I think that's dead on. I think that he's not going to make it through this year. Well, he'll probably finish the year, but I really believe that, I mean, when they were looking for a coach, Doug Pederson wasn't even on anybody's radar. He wasn't even being interviewed. And the only reason I think, like I said, was because that Howie was going to make sure there was nobody that would be like Chip Kelly ever again that comes in and goes over his head. And Doug Pederson was going to be fine with taking the job and following the way they run the system in their front office. And I believe that was the main reason that they hired him. You know, I really do. And, you know, his first 3 games, I thought, you know, they looked good. They won their first 3 games, but a lot of teams haven't seen the quarterback. They hadn't seen Doug Pederson. They didn't really know. And then after the Detroit game, I think teams started to adjust. And once the team started to adjust to Doug Pederson, he didn't do nothing for weeks and weeks. No adjustments. He's very, you know, everything's a short pass. I mean, he didn't even attempt, you know, to stretch the field. I mean, it was like 8 or 9 weeks. I think they said that he didn't throw one bomb or one long pass in the first half of a game. Yeah. And you could see the defenses, they would play everything up. I mean, the safeties were up, and it would just, he didn't make any adjustments. I didn't like some of his choices with 2-point conversions. I didn't like his 4th down going for him sometimes. I just very suspect of him. You know?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I understand. I get it. All right, you deserve 2 years. If you get hired, you deserve it. I'll give you that. And I've been saying that. But right from the very beginning, I was just like, this guy's gonna get fired in 2 years. Come on. Adam Gase is the guy I wanted. I think Adam Gase is ahead of the curve. I think he's a genius. I think what he did last year with Ryan Tannehill was amazing. What he did with Jay Cutler was amazing.
Yeah.
Adam Gase was the guy, and we kind of let him off the hook, and then we settled for Dougie P. And what I see out of Doug Pederson is this: he has this vast playbook, and I think scheme wise he has it right. But out of that big playbook, he calls 10 plays.
Yeah, exactly.
Play calling is very predictable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost like Chip Kelly's back.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. And also the way he kept comparing Wentz to Alex Smith really bothers me a lot. Because
and he treated him like he was Alex Smith, the way he called plays.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And Wentz is not Alex Smith. Wentz he's a big arm. He's a big guy. And I didn't like when he was going, he reminds me of Alex Smith. If he reminds you of Alex Smith, we shouldn't have drafted him. That's how I felt about it. You know what I mean? Alex, that's not a compliment to say that. If I'm Wentz and he says, you look like Alex Smith, I'm pissed off. You know what I mean? I'm pissed off because that's an insult. That's how I see it. And then having Wentz, I didn't like when he let Wentz run the read option. You know what I mean? I think Wentz has feet and his mobility, but let him use it in the pocket to buy time, like Aaron Rodgers kind of does, or Ben. I think that's more of Wentz's game, and Wentz can make every throw. And to not let him use his arm, really, that bothers me. And I'm not sure that he's going to do that this year coming up. I don't know that he can make changes. We got to give him a chance. I'm willing to give him a chance, but I'm not sold on him by any means.
Yeah, I mean, there are changes have been made. So obviously, the Eagles have added some weapons in an attempt to kind of stretch the field. So maybe Doug will use a little bit more of that playbook this year. We'll see. But it's more than just schematics for me. I don't think he can handle a locker room. You said it. He's a yes man. He's too nice. I don't think he has that. No. I don't.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, you can be a player's coach, right? You can be Andy Reid, you can be that, but when shit I cursed again. When the going gets tough, man, you got to really lay it into your team. And I don't see Dougie being he's like a Teletubby. He's a teddy bear. I don't take him seriously.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think he has it either. I mean, he barely can get through a press conference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree with you totally. And where's he been all season? You notice during the draft, you didn't see any interviews about when they made drafts. It was all Roseman and Douglas. You didn't even see Doug Pederson. You forgot he was there. I'm telling you, he was sleeping in the corner and during the draft. That's why they went defense the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like Andy too, on his 3rd and shorts and 4th downs.
Yeah. Oh.
Those 2 4th downs that stand out. They cost the Eagles 2 games this year. The one was against Dallas. It was a 4th and 1. I believe this is the one. This is the one where they ran Darren Sproles up the middle. Behind Big V. That was the 4th down call.
Yeah.
That was supposed to fool everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one was when Carson Wentz was along the perimeter.
Well, yeah.
The sweep to the left. Yeah.
I liked when he challenged. Yeah, I liked when he challenged the 2-yard play. What a dope!
We're gonna get 2 yards back.
Oh my god! So who the hell is this guy? This is our coach.
The only time you should be challenging for 2 yards is if you're at the 35-yard line instead of a 50-yard field goal. It's like a 48-yard field.
Yeah, exactly. It was I don't remember what quarter. It was probably the first quarter. I don't remember what quarter it was or half, but yeah, I'm not very impressed with him. I thought that was I really believe they didn't even do a coaching search. They knew. I think the whole thing where they got Ron Jaworski and they were going out was a facade. You know what I mean? I don't think they had any intention of hiring anybody but Doug Pederson from the get-go.
That's what Jeremy says from the Bitterbirds. That's what he
yeah.
thinks. So, yeah.
I agree. I agree with that totally.
So, yeah, like for me, to harpen back on him, I think he would make a good offensive coordinator, man. Like I think he does have the schematics down. I think what he I think he's got that football mind, but head coach
Right.
don't see it. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. I can see what you're saying there. I would be okay with that. I agree. And I hope that, if he struggles during the course of the year, I really would like to see Frank Reich take over some of the play calling.
Yep.
I'd like to see what he could do. It'd be a lot more interesting.
I'm actually 100%, like nearly 100% agreement with you, because these coaches these days, nobody calls plays anymore except for like Andy. You know? And you're talking about a guy that's in his second year. So you're talking about a guy that's brand new to all this. He wasn't actually like a coordinator for that long in the NFL either. So
right.
With NFL experience, it's kind of limited. So the fact that you're putting all this on your plate, you're a first-year head coach and you're calling the plays and you're in charge of the team, you're doing all this, you have all these responsibilities. He should have let Frank call the plays. I'm with you.
No,
that's a great point you make.
Yeah, well, we gotta make them.
That's why you're Philly.500, man.
Right, I gotta tell the way it is. As bad as people, as mad as people will get at me for saying the truth, it's got to be said.
I'll tell you what, though, the only thing that's 500 about us is our batting average.
Yeah, I haven't even really watched the Phillies that much this year.
You're not missing much.
No.
Except for Aaron Altair. Aaron Altair is a lot, really fun to watch.
No.
He's solid.
Philly.500 is because our teams are always 500.
Yeah. I figured that.
Yeah.
I could put that together.
Yeah.
Except we're like Philly.250 right now.
Right, yeah, 250, really. Jeez.
The way we're going.
Yeah, well, Sixers lottery coming up, so we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Carson Wentz.
Something good.
Okay, so you like Carson Wentz.
I love Carson Wentz.
Like somebody?
Huh?
You like somebody. So you like people complain that you complain too much.
Oh, yeah, I do. Well, it's the truth, right? I mean, the only way you're going to get past, not making the playoffs and not winning is when you start realizing what you're doing wrong over and over and over again and then change it. And if that comes from me complaining so that people can see and then they can let them know, then so be it. One day we'll have a ring and they can say, thank God Philly.500 complained about everything for years and years because it finally got through, But Carson Wentz is going to be, to me, I wouldn't trade Carson Wentz for any young quarterback in the league, even Luck. I like Carson Wentz that much. And I didn't watch him in college. So when they said the Eagles were interested, I went back and I looked at him, and I liked what I saw, and I was all for the trade because I know what a quarterback, what it means for a quarterback on your team. You need a franchise quarterback, right?
Yeah.
But when they started struggling during the year, the way he handled himself, was really won me over. And I think he's got what it takes. And I do think that despite all the mistakes they've made, he's the one thing that he's the X factor, because if he progresses in year two, it masks all your flaws. And I think he's going to be a top 3 quarterback in the league in a few years. I really do.
Okay. All right.
That's what I think.
Well, I'll get into that in a second. Now, if you guys have been listening to the Bitterbirds, have watched the Bitterbirds for years, since our inception here on YouTube, you will know that we were on the Carson Wentz bandwagon before anybody. We knew Carson Wentz before anybody else knew Carson Wentz. And the reason why was this. Mike Owens and I used to work at a place called the Sports Network. The Sports Network, it's now defunct. It got bought out by Stats LLC. But we used to provide the top 25 rankings for the FCS. So we watched a lot of that FCS type of football. I knew about Carson Wentz. I knew all about him. And I liked him a lot. And when like it was like November, doing so hot, I'm like, all right, like it looks like we're gonna have like a middle to late first round pick. They should consider taking Carson Wentz. Like, I like this kid. And then all of a sudden he shot up the draft boards. You remember like all the workouts he had. And all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, you're not even going to get him. You're going to have to trade up to get him. And then obviously everything happened. So, Carson Wentz, man, I am all about him. I love him. Now it's top 3 ceiling. That's interesting. Because I always said like fringe top 5. When I see Wentz, I always thought he was like Matt Ryan-ish, like that type of level. Now, obviously, Matt Ryan killed it this year. He won MVP. Yeah. So, like, fringe top 5 is like what I always saw. Now, top 3, because there's going to be a lot of good quarterbacks coming up. Because you're going to have Luck. You're going to have Winston. You're going to have Mariota. You're still going to have Rodgers. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how, the top of that kind of food chain, top of that pecking order pans out.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. And a lot of it depends a lot of times on the coach you have and the organization and what they put around you and that kind of thing. But if you're just talking in terms of ceiling and in talent and what he can be, I think he can be a top 3 guy. I mean, I definitely think he has the brains to do it. I love the way he controlled that offense from week 1. I mean, this is a guy that had no preseason at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He came out and he was good. But like I said, when he struggled and they started losing, I just loved how he handled himself. You know what I mean? And I really don't think the coach did him a lot of favors and put him in a lot of the best situations either. But he handled everything well. And I do think that he's the kind of guy that has that ceiling. Now, whether he can get to top 3, I mean, it depends on a lot of factors. But I think he has it in him. I definitely do.
Does he have it in him? Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I think, like, realistically, like 4, 5, 6 is kind of where I think he's going to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's like what Ben is.
No, right.
Big Ben won some Super Bowls, obviously. So
yeah,
that's kind of where, Matt Ryan was the comparison. Matt Ryan, top 5.
Matt Ryan was awesome this year.
Yeah. So obviously you can move a little bit better than Matt Ryan, but
definitely.
What else was I was going to? Yeah, I'm really, really impressed by all the intangibles. It's not just what his physical skill set. It's his command of the huddle. You can see that he's going to be that leader. You can already tell.
Yeah.
He has that presence about him. The way he commands everything. He's really, really smart, like you said. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, this guy brings his iPad on dates with him to stay at the place. Like,
that's awesome.
That's awesome. That's the greatest thing ever. It's like,
that's what you want. You want a guy that actually loves what he's doing and actually wants to be the best. I mean, that's very important, for a quarterback, especially a quarterback. So that's, like I said, I love him. I have no problems with him. He's the one thing that, despite all the things that have happened or will happen, that I think we have him. And if we can just let him progress, I think we'll be okay in the long run. I do.
Now the key is obviously just building around him.
Right.
Building around him. And that's not easy. It's not as easy as you might think it will be. I mean, just ask the Colts. Colts have been struggling for years now trying to build around Andrew Luck.
Right. Yeah, and he's taken a beating over the years, Andrew Luck.
Yeah. They got no O-line help. They've been struggling in the draft. I mean, they've been trying to find an edge rusher now for like 5 years, and they just hasn't worked out for them. So that's going to be the key now. It's coming. It's going to. Joe Douglas is going to play a really, really integral part of the future of this franchise. And they gotta draft well. They gotta build around Wentz, and if they don't, then we're gonna waste a franchise quarterback here in Philly.
Yeah, and that would be sad.
Yeah,
that would be horrible. But we'll see. I mean, like you said, I'm curious to see where they go, what Wentz does in his second year. To me, that'll tell you a lot. You know what I mean? The one thing I am worried about is that there's so many guys who may leave, and there may be such a high turnover in year 3 that I would hate for him to go into year 3 with losing so many guys. That's the one thing that concerns me more than anything right now. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like the Jeffrey thing. You know,
Yeah, I don't trust that this team can give him a long term. Look, they were going to sign Brian Dawkins, right? Oh, don't worry, we're not going to let Brian Dawkins go. He's gone. Then we're not going to let Macklin go. He's gone. So why would I think that Alshon goes out, has a great year, and they keep him? I can't trust that.
Yeah. As much as I think they are going to re-sign him, and as much as I think like it fits, it makes sense. You can't make the assumption. You just you never know. Look what happened with Marco Murray here in Philly. He comes here, he's so excited. He's like, oh my god, I'm in Philly, got all this money. Then he becomes a 4th-string running back, and no, he's not going to want to go.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen,
especially with the Eagles.
Yeah, you never know.
Especially with the Eagles.
So unpredictable.
It just I mean, you could go into year 3. Wentz could have brand new receivers. Your brand new left tackle, brand new right tackle. I mean, you don't know. I can't trust that. That's why I don't get so excited about the free agency and we got Alshon, because I need to see it over the years. I want stability. I want continuity, and the only way you get that is playing through the years. Now I hope they sign Alshon. I do, but we'll see.
Yeah, the past has scarred you greatly.
Man, I am psychologically damaged by the Eagles. I have therapy. I have to go on medication and all of it because of this team. All Howie Roseman, too. Howie Roseman.
Howie Roseman sucks.
Man, he does. He does. He sucks, people out there. He stinks. Stinks. You think I complain? I complain, but he stinks. Tell him not to stink, and I won't complain. That's what I have to say.
Now, in a positive light, I will say this: it seems like they're limiting his power, because I think all he's doing now is just making trades and doing contracts.
Yeah,
I don't think he has any say in the draft. I think that's all Joe Douglas.
I hope you're right. I'm just afraid that Joe Douglas is like the puppet on the string, and that Howie's behind the scenes running everything. You
can just see that Howie is that manipulative.
I'm a conspiracy theorist guy, so I'm thinking he's an Illuminati or whatever the hell it is. I don't know what's going on. I could see Howie in this little room and he's telling Joe Douglas to do this, and here's the draft. Here's the draft card. Turn it in. You know what I mean? I don't know. I hope you're right, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's talk about that draft right now.
Okay.
Let's get into it. Now, I really like what the Eagles did. I thought, I know you're not crazy about the Barnett pick. Neither was I when they did it initially, but I like the fact that how they attacked the cornerbacks. Now, obviously, the Sidney Jones thing, he's hurt. So, you never know if he's going to recover from that injury, but the tape is very, very impressive. Rasul Douglas got him in the 3rd round. What do you think of the draft?
I gave the draft a C+, B-. And the only reason I did is because I love the Sidney Jones pick too, but I don't know. A cornerback coming back from Achilles scares me. It just scares me. I don't know if
It should scare you.
Yeah, that scares me. Now, if he comes back and he's 100%, I would say I'd give the draft a B+, A-. I do. The Derek Barnett pick, I was initially really pissed off about it. I understand why they drafted him. He's productive. He was good in the SEC. I get all that. I wanted O.J. Howard. That's who I wanted, but I can understand that Derek Barnett. I don't trust the Eagles picking defensive ends. We get back into Marcus Smith and Brandon Graham and Jerome McDougal and Vinnie Curry. So I'm skeptical on that end, but I'm okay with the pick now. I understand the reasoning behind it. I think I love Rasul Douglas, by the way. I loved him. I loved Gibson just because I thought the Eagles needed somebody with some speed. I think they need speed on their team. And the 4th round, I really wanted Tariq Cohen early in the 4th. That was my Sproles replacement right there. And I would like to see maybe another corner because you have Sidney Jones coming back from injury. So if they would have brought in maybe another corner, I thought that would have been good too. But I mean, overall, to me, it's all about Sidney Jones. If he's healthy, it was a great draft. But I can't know right now. I'm too nervous about the injury.
Yeah. Well, honestly, we really shouldn't be grading drafts until 3 years from now, but
Right.
we all do it anyway. Now,
Yeah.
I thought they did. I gave them an A, but I'm like assuming that Jones is going to be really good. So
Yeah.
I should
Well, then yeah.
be making that assumption. Now, it really should be an A minus because the fourth round. I've said this before. I wanted another corner. I wanted one.
Yeah.
And they were there. And they didn't get one. And, they went Mac Hollins. They went Donnell Pumphrey. You make an interesting point with the Tariq Cohen thing. I know one of our – I forget his name, but one of our viewers, wanted Cohen because he reminded him of Sproles. And I agree. He is more of Sproles than Pumphrey. Pumphrey actually doesn't remind me of Darren Sproles at all, actually.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Donnell Pumphrey can't run routes really well. He can't accelerate out of his breaks like Sproles does. And I don't think he runs like him either. Like Pumphrey is a guy that he bounces. He's a bouncer.
Right.
He goes to the outside. He turns the corner. He's got a lot of speed. He accelerates. He's a cutback guy. He's got some jump cutting ability. But in terms of catching the ball, I don't see him doing that. And he's a guy that's going to fall down right away because he's $175.
Right. Yeah.
Really light. So, yeah, Pumphrey.
I mean, Sproles is very strong too. He's got big, thick legs. Sproles.
Yeah, and Cohen
has
that.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree with you there. I think another corner would have been, I think, essential because you don't know if Sidney's going to play. I mean, personally, I hope he sits the whole year. I mean, that's how worried I am about Achilles. I would just sit him the whole year. But I think I would have brought another corner, maybe another running back. I'd like to see Cohen and maybe like another running back and another corner. But, to me, I really like the Rasul Douglas pick. I think he could be a real sleeper. And like I said, this whole draft is going to be, is Sidney Jones healthy? If he's healthy, I think you got a stud corner. And to me, the whole draft, you made the whole draft. It's a steal. You know what I mean? He's a top 10 player, So, we'll see, but that's kind of where I'm at. The first two picks, nervous about the second, and the first one, I really thought there was better players available at 14. Not that Derek Barnett is not going to be good and all that. I just thought that you get a freaking O.J. Howard to put around Wentz, put pressure on Ertz, who needs a wake-up call before December. And yeah, I would have gone out and done that. But, Derek Barnett, we'll see.
Well, your strategy would have been perfect. What you told me pre-show. You draft O.J. Howard. You call up Ertz, tell him to come to the team in December and let him play then. Put up.
That's it. Yeah, let him just work out and be ready. And in December he shows up, and then you're set. And you probably got 2 All-Pro tight ends. I mean, half his yards are in December. Look, I stuck up for Ertz for years.
So did I.
Even last year, I was like, Doug Pederson's the coach. Ertz is going to be like Kelsey, and it's going to be awesome. Hey, where was he? He was nowhere to be found. The guy, the wind blows, he falls. I mean, you can knock him off the route so easy. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but when there's no pressure and the games don't matter, he shows up. So he Ertz is on my bad side right now. You know what I mean?
They didn't like that I called him overrated. They didn't like it. They didn't like that, and they didn't like Jordan Matthews either.
Yeah.
I think Jordan
Matthews got hands of cement.
He does.
I can't catch anything.
Jordan Matthews, because I was arguing with the one guy, and he brings up Jordan Matthews' stats. I'm like, well, who gives a shit? Because first of all, your first 2 years, your stats were skewed by Chip Kelly's offense. I actually went and did it. I calculated actually what the NFL average would have been for Matthews. The year he went for 997 yards, it would have only been for 815 or something in a normal offense. So that's how much Chip Kelly's offense skewed his stats.
Yeah, well, yeah, they ran a play, like every 15 seconds, 20 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, but also the first year, now I can't remember. I don't remember. Did he have Macklin with him the first year? Was Macklin still on the team the first year?
Chip.
I want to say he was.
Chip was here how many years? 3 years.
3.
I think Macklin he left the year right before Matthews became a rookie.
Okay, did he? I can't remember. I thought Deshaun left the year because Macklin was hurt first year of Chip. Second year of Chip, Macklin had a huge year.
I think it was hold on. Now I'm curious. I'm going to check.
Because if Macklin was there, that also
here, then Jordan Matthews has no excuse.
Right. That would also skew his numbers because Macklin had a great year, and they should have resigned Macklin, and let him go was horrible. But they said, "Oh, don't worry about the last year of the contract. Don't worry about it."
No, he wasn't here. Yeah, I didn't think he was here. I think he was the year right after. But yeah, like
I couldn't remember.
Even to think all like. You remember that draft, the Jordan Matthews draft? All those, I believe that was like the Odell Beckham and Kelvin Benjamin and
Latavius Bryant.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry. So you had like all these great wide receivers going that draft, and out of all the ones we get, Jordan Matthews. But I'm not allowed to call him overrated.
Well, the funny thing is they took Marcus Smith and Kelvin Benjamin was sitting right there.
Yeah, well, good old Howie.
Yeah, well, and that's why I'm like, people are like, well, why didn't you like Barnett? He was a beast. Because Howie Roseman drafted him. As soon as Howie Roseman drafted him, I have a problem with the person. I always think, well, if he was so good, why would Howie draft him? That's how I usually think. It can't be that good. I mean, how many first-round picks has he hurt? I mean, Fletcher Cox was like, everybody knew to take Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, I don't even give him credit for that one either.
I don't either, no. I don't either. He didn't even know anything about football. I mean, he was like a lawyer. And then he was working with Joe Banner. He got Joe Banner. I mean, they could do like a reality show, the Eagles front office. You know what I mean? And Howie, I bet he's a little office. He's pinning everybody on each other. Now they got Joe Douglas. I think he's like his puppet. And I think Douglas is doing whatever Howie says. I know it's bad, but this is what they've done to me. Yeah. This is what they've done. Psychological damage.
I don't blame you. We've been through a lot. I don't need to say more. So this is where we talk about the player we hate most on this team. Who do you hate most?
Who do I hate? Well, that's actually an interesting question.
I know what mine.
I would have to say that publicly it would be Brandon Graham. but in reality, it may be Kelsey. It may be Kelsey. I do not like Kelsey at all.
You know who I don't like at all? Now, he's not going to be on this team much longer, but Dorial Green-Beckham, that's the guy I hate.
Oh, man.
I hate DGB.
Why do you hate him?
You know why I hate DGB? Because he's worse than Aguilar, and Aguilar got all the hate last year. DGB stinks. He's awful. He is. Yes, he stinks. Just like Philly.500. I love the way you say that. He stinks. He's terrible.
That's the meaning. It means something. Stinks.
Stinks.
Yes.
And I took so much heat last year. Oh my God. I hated him after like 2 games. I was like, I saw him run around. I'm like, dude, he's lazy. He doesn't care. He's done. He was done. Yeah. He was supposed to be a red zone threat. Every time you threw him a jump ball, he didn't fight for the ball.
I was excited when they traded for him.
So was I. I was excited.
Oh, this is great. What a great move. Howie Roseman. He stinks. He stinks. I should have known as soon as Howie traded for him, he stinks. Yeah, he's pretty bad. Aguilar's pretty bad too.
DGB dropped the ball more than Aguilar last year.
I didn't even know that.
Nobody does.
I don't think he's going to make it out of training camp.
I don't think so either. I think Aguilar makes the team because of the cap hit, because they got to spend money to cut him.
Yeah.
So I think he makes it, and DGB's out.
Yeah, I think so.
There it is. DGB is my most hated.
I had the worst was a few years ago when they had Nate Allen. I hated Nate Allen, and everybody would say he's good. Like, he stinks. They got to get rid of him. That was the worst. And they just kept him. Every year he was still on the team. I didn't understand it. That was brutal for me. That was really brutal.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it used to be Brandon Graham. I got to give Brandon Graham credit. He had a good year. He's not an elite defensive. I don't think he's a top 3, but I think he's a good player. He had a good year. But
I bet our thoughts on Brandon Graham actually probably aren't that far off from each other.
Probably not. I had a bad start with him because I wanted Earl Thomas. Now, I wanted Earl Thomas so bad, and then they traded up. And I called during that trade up I must have called like 20 people screaming that we're going to get Earl Thomas right here, right now. And I was so excited that when that happened and they took Brandon Graham, I was like devastated. Yep. So that right off the bat was like a bad start for me and him. I mean, that was right there. And then, then Earl Thomas goes, wins Super Bowl, Defensive Player of the Year. And it eats me up. To this day, it eats me up, But I think he's a good player now. I think he's developed into a good role player. He's a good leader, but I don't think he's a star.
Yeah, I don't think he's a star. So I'm in agreement with you there. But I do think he's more of a role player. I think he's like a really good player. But we talked about the whole contracts thing. Like, all of a sudden he wants this new contract. Whether or not that's actually true, who the hell knows? I mean, Jeff McClain reported it. But you have other reporters saying that, he's can't wait for the season to start. He's not looking for a new contract. So in terms of him wanting a new contract, I don't. He's 29 already. He just got a contract 2 years ago. But I think, yes, he was very, very good last year. And the reason why I like him is because he's a versatile option. He can stop the run. He can even drop back in pass defense. And he can get after the quarterback. Now, granted, he only had 5.5 sacks, but he did lead the NFL in hurries. And then that's where people will say, well, he can't get to the quarterback. That's why he had all the hurries.
Even the NFL Network made fun of him. Did you see the top 100? They did the top 100.
I don't watch that, but I know.
They did a top 100, and then they put 5.5 on his jersey. They put the decimal point in between. I was like, that's a shot. That's what I would do. That's what I was thinking, too. I was like, I want to make a Brandon Graham jersey that's at 5.5. To me, yeah, he doesn't get sacks, but at some point you got to get sacks. At some point, you have to get more than 6.5 sacks in a year. So maybe this is the year I want to see 10 sacks from him this year. That's what I want to see. If he gets 10 sacks, I will do an apology. I will put a suit and tie on, and I will get in it, and I will apologize to Brandon Graham. But until then, he stinks.
I love him. Stinks. Stinks.
Yeah, that's the way I say it. I remember he was in the 4-3, right? Early on in career, he's in the 4-3. Oh, Brandon Graham should be in 3-4. He goes to 3-4, then, he needs to go to 4-3. Now, with Eagle fans, he's the greatest thing ever. Now I get people, they send me messages. He's a top 2, top 3 defensive end in the league. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Not that high. I mean, that I get, like, people think that because of the Pro Football Focus rating.
Yeah, right.
Second among edge rushers. Okay, yeah. People are going to say that he's not. He's like a fringe top 10 defensive end, maybe. And
I could buy that. I could buy that for 1 year. Now,
for this year's edge rusher rankings list for the Bitter Birds, he might be my top 10. He might be a top 10 guy.
I can buy that.
He might be.
Now, let me hear. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You go back to 2010 right now. 13. You're on the clock.
Oh, it's Earl Thomas.
Okay, so you would take Earl Thomas. So he's not good enough to replace Earl Thomas.
No. That's not. See, like with that, it's like I've psychologically, I guess, have been able to get past the Earl Thomas thing.
I have split personalities now. I have all sorts of problems.
Yeah, you're like that movie Split. You know, you got 27
Yeah.
Howie Roseman.
That was brutal because I called so many people. I was so happy, and then it was like,
I was right there with you, man. Like everybody was like, it's Earl Thomas. Oh my God.
I know that was
This is our replacement for Brian Dawkins.
right. Yeah, because Dawkins had just left, so
that was it. That was the guy, and they didn't take him. And then they took Brandon Graham, who they might not even needed to trade up for.
Right, yeah. I didn't think he was going to go to a second round. That's what they had said, so I don't know. But I just remember them saying that Howie Roseman loved Brandon Graham, and he went to Michigan games. And didn't he have like the media come in for like to show the plays and go through tape with them or something?
I don't remember that.
Damaged psychologically. but Brandon Graham, I give him credit in that he didn't let it get him down. He keeps playing. He plays hard. And if they were to cut him right now today, I would be pissed off. I would be like, how could you cut him? So he's earned that. And like I said, I will issue the apology, and he gets 10 sacks.
Yeah.
Even 9.5.
Even 9.5. Well, that's what I joke with you. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, he's probably gonna get 9.5. Watch.
Yeah, I'll give it. I'll round it up.
If he gets 8, 9, 10, man, I'd be very happy because of all the other things that he can do. But my argument for like the hurries was, well, yeah, I know he gets made fun of because he doesn't always bring quarterback down. I agree with you. But last year was the situation where the Eagles, their cornerback struggled so much, the secondary struggled so much, and the fact that teams were taking these quick 3-step drops, I think, was limiting the fact that he could get to, because obviously less time to get after the quarterback.
Right.
If the quarterback is getting rid of the ball.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So I that was part of my argument as well.
I think it's a good. I think it's fair. Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
But if those hurries don't translate into sacks, like you got Derek Barnett now, we'll see how the secondary kind of turns itself out. Now, actually, by the time our secondary is good, Brandon Graham's gonna be like 31, 32. But still. Yeah, like we'll kind of see. We'll see this year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm willing to give him a chance a little bit. It's like this much, But
it's freaking Earl Thomas. That's the problem. It's Earl Thomas syndrome.
That's it. That was brutal, and he was so good. Earl Thomas was so good, and you knew he was going to be good. I mean, when the fans know, and the GM still takes somebody he wants, there's something wrong that everybody who doesn't study tapes knows that this guy was going to be good, and they took Brandon Graham. I can't get over it. I can't live.
That was like Andy Reid Eagles' specialty was like not only just trading up, but trading up for somebody that was like who?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Like didn't they trade up for Sean Andrews?
Sean Andrews, yeah. It wasn't. I think Steven Jackson was still on the.
Yes, I remember. Yes, okay, yeah. It was like everyone. That was like a little bit similar. Like everyone wanted Steven Jackson, and they take Sean Andrews.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, they do. They do a lot, But
we just saw Andy do it again for Patrick Mahomes, traded up to number 10.
He did. He went on. I think Andy Reid's going to be the president of the Eagles next year. I think this is it. I think Harbaugh comes. Andy Reid is going to retire from coaching, and he's going to come to the Eagles front office. Howie's going to get the boot, and Doug Peterson's going to get the boot.
Dude, if we brought Harbaugh in here, and hell,
that's what I want.
Get that out of here. Get that little snake out of here.
Get him out, man. I'll even move his stuff out. I'll fly there. I'll back in the truck for him. I'll move his ass out. I don't care. I can't stand that guy. I'm telling you, he has hurt the Eagles over the course of the years. When they let Andy Reid go, they should have started fresh from the front office to the coach, and they kept him. And as long as they kept him, we haven't made any playoff. We made one playoff. We lost. We haven't won any playoff games. I don't know how much closer we are to the playoffs this year. I really don't, because I think we're still sort of young in terms of quarterback. We haven't addressed the running back. We haven't addressed really the corner in terms of next year. I don't know.
Oh, I still think we're Well, your name says it right there. We're
500, right? Yeah, if we're lucky.
We're
Yeah, I think 7 and 9, 8 and 8 is about what
That's
I
what I'm
expect.
thinking as well. Yeah, like I think 9 and 7 is like the ceiling. Like maybe you can get there.
Yeah,
Maybe that sneaks you into the playoffs. But I
yeah,
don't think this is a playoff team this year.
yeah. The great, the great wild card is Wentz, because quarterback can mask all that, and
Oh,
if
yeah.
Wentz progresses like more than we would expect, and he takes them to the playoffs, I'm telling you, if they go like 10-6, 11-5, I think that Wentz will be considered an MVP candidate. I think he would have to have that kind of year.
If I agree, because for them to go 11 and 5, he's going to have to throw for like 4,000 yards, 30, 35 touchdowns.
Yeah, if he does that, then forget about it. That's, then everybody's staying, and I wouldn't even care at that point, because if you have a quarterback like that, I mean, look what Aaron Rodgers does with the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that team isn't good around him, and he takes them to the championship games. So, quarterback masks everything. It really does,
Yeah.
So,
except in Indianapolis, because the rest of the roster is just so bad.
Yeah, but he takes such a beating. I mean, they don't ever address their line. That's the thing I don't understand with the Colts. They should have a better line than they do.
Yeah.
It just shows you how good Peyton Manning was too, because when he missed the year, they went 3-13, and he was something. So that's I mean, that's how I see it. I don't know. I think that the Eagles are, they're on the verge of I think getting to the playoffs, but I think they're a year away.
I agree. I think next year is the year where they go 10 and 6 and they get that wild card bid or something.
Yeah, I agree.
But this year, still not there. All right. Damn, we almost went for an hour.
Oh, wow. Well, it was fun. It went quick, too. It feels like 20 minutes.
It always goes quick, man. These shows always go quick, and they are a lot of fun. So this is the point where we do our final thoughts, where basically you can just say whatever the hell is on your mind, whatever you want to say.
Okay. Let me think.
Got anything to say? Howie stinks.
The Eagles front office stinks. The coach stinks. A lot of the players stink. But the quarterback is the one that is going to rise everything above that and make the Eagles something. And I really believe it's all about Wentz. And as long as we have him, we can get on the right track. But you got to sign Alshon. You can't have 18 guys leave the team. And if you do that, we'll be fine. But as far as the front office, Howie and the coach, I think they stink. And I think that it's all about Wentz. And that's it. That's what I have to say.
There it is.
But I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I'll be watching.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely be watching. Doesn't matter if they go 1-15, 2-14. We'll still be tuning in, and we'll be complaining. We'll be complaining.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what I do best.
Yeah, you'll change your name. Philly 50.
Philly. Yeah, that's right.
We'll do that.
I'm gonna do it, man.
Yeah,
but
this was.
I appreciate you having me on, though. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
This was a lot of fun. We'll have to do this again. This is something I'm trying to do more of. Actually, is getting other people involved on this channel, and this is a way. I mean, obviously, like you've got a lot of support, and the subscribers are coming. Like people know who you are, but just a way to get your name out there more, because I respect the hell out of your videos, and I respect the hell out of you, and I think you're really good on here. So
thank you. I appreciate it. I respect you too. I watch your channel all the time. And anytime you want me to come on, let me know. I'll be glad.
Yeah, we'll have to collaborate even more. I did some with E-Rock last week, and I'm gonna try and get more people involved. So just get more, just all these different viewpoints, and I have this vision for what I want this channel to be, and we'll see where things go. Yeah,
definitely, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. With that being said, that is Philly.500. I am Adrian Fedke, BB500.
BB500. There you go.
There it is.
Everybody take care. I'm sorry if I pissed you people off. That's the way it has to be. But we'll see. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, yeah. Invited anytime. We'll figure out later like what we'll do, but we'll get you on.
Okay, sounds good, man.
Especially since you're like a historical guy, I think we could do some historical type shows. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, I love talking
Yeah.
about the past. Yeah.
Okay, that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Because then you can change your name to Philly.500.
Philly.500. There you go. Yeah.
We're actually good winning games.
Yeah, I love it. I'm down with that. Works for me.
There it is. All right, brother.
All right, thanks for having me.
500. I'm Adrian. Thank you for the Bitter Birds. We're out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this collaboration.
Thank you.